Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another episode of AskGufish. Usually this is the part where I provide a channel update before we jump into your questions, but I don't really have any this week. We're just kind of chilling, waiting for this year to end. This is kind of a weird period for me because this is like the first time since I was like 8 years old that I'm spending Christmas in the US without my family. So I don't have one yet, but I am planning on getting a Christmas tree. So hopefully I'll have that in the background for the next episode. I have no idea what I'm talking about that. You subscribe for guitars. Let's get into your questions. What do you think about the Quad Cortex that's coming out soon? Dude. Okay, so I did see the Quad Cortex at the last Winter NAMM, and I'll be honest, as someone who's very into big tube amps, I haven't had that much experience with modelers or profilers. In fact, I only just played through a Kemper last week. It was a Bogner Ecstasy profile, and holy crap. I mean, I haven't played a real Bogner Ecstasy to compare, but the Kemper sounded mean. Anyway, so I saw the Quad Cortex at last year's NAMM, but being naive to the whole digital world, I kind of completely slept on it. I mean, I know Neural DSP absolutely kills it with their natural sounding plugins, and this is their first foray into the hardware world, but I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand what made it different to your Helixes or your Kempers. But no, now that it's been explained to me, now that I know shit, it's poised to be the biggest game changer in guitar gear in years. And here's why. First, let's back up and break down the difference between a modeler like the Line 6 Helix versus a profiler like the Kemper, because they're two entirely different methods of digitizing an amp sound. A modeler tries to replicate how an amp functions by analyzing and imitating every piece of the circuit that affects tone, so preamp tubes, power tubes, obviously, but also biasing, gain stages, etc. The idea being, all these pieces combined, you're essentially building an identical digital version of the physical circuit to replicate the tone. Meanwhile, a profiler works, well, kind of like how an IR loader works. A profiler is a lot like an impulse response. It's a sonic snapshot. Much like how an IR looks at how the sound changes from when it comes out of an amp to when it comes through a mic speaker cab and replicates that change, a profile does the same thing for guitar input to amp output. It doesn't really look at or even care what's in the amp circuit. It just seeks to replicate the exact tone and response of the particular amp that's been profiled. And just so we're clear, both methods are completely valid. You can get great results with both. You can also get terrible results with both, but I guess that's the same with tube amps as well. The tone knobs in my circle say that they prefer the profiles because they feel more natural at the moment. Modeling is always getting better though. I would know, again, no experience, but that's one of the things that makes the Neural DSP Quad Cortex so great. You don't have to choose because it does both. It does modeling, it does profiling, not only that, but building on their legacy of being one of the best in the business when it comes to natural sounding algorithms. Everyone I know that's played it says that it absolutely blows away the Kemper and the Helix in terms of realism. And considering the Kemper goes for $1,800, the Helix $1,700, the Quad Cortex is cheaper and does both for $1,600, that's already pretty crazy. But in addition to that, you can also profile things like overdrive pedals, load your own custom IRs, so you can essentially profile your entire rig on this thing. And that's in addition to the 50 plus amps, 70 plus effects, and 1,000 plus IRs already preloaded. So on one hand, definite option paralysis potential. On the other hand, that makes the Quad Cortex an incredibly versatile piece of gear. In theory, any guitarist can pick it up and build a rig for any genre right out of the box. Cool thing about the IRs too, they're dynamic just like the ones that Two Notes uses. You can do things like switch mics, change the mic placement, just really, the thing is so stupidly feature-packed. It's like they've just taken all the features from everybody else in the game and stuffed it into one. And you have to give them credit for how it looks too. As cool as the Kemper's capabilities might be, it does not look cool. Or at least very modern. It looks like a piece of Soviet military equipment. Neural DSP has made theirs small. It only weighs 4.2 pounds. All your amps, all your effects, all your IRs, 4.2 pounds. Big ass touchscreen as well to control and customize everything. I mean, this is the first time I've been hyped for a modeler, profiler, whatever, digital tone device. Like, legitimately, it seems like it can do everything. It's like the definitive amalgamation of where modeling and profiling technology has taken us thus far and packaged up with a user experience design that makes sense in 2020. And I have wanted to work with Neural DSP for a while. The plugins aren't the cheapest, like 120, 150-ish bucks, but the tone you get out of them for that amount of money seems to be incredible. Like Andrew Bana was telling me that his new band, Carcosa, did their entire EP only using Neural DSP plugins, and it sounds insane. So I'd love to get some neural DSP content on here in general. Probably not the quad Cortex though anytime soon. The hype is crazy, there just aren't enough to go around. But yeah, I've emailed them, waiting to hear back because I know a lot of you are like me. Love the big ass tube heads, but more often than not, they're not the best option for bedroom musicians. Plugins are the more convenient, budget-friendly option for great tone, and they've gotten really good in the last couple of years. But yeah, what do you think of the quad Cortex and of neural DSP in general? Are you psyched for the new unit? Yes, no? And I'd love to hear, especially from the die-hard tube defense squad, is this the unit that might get you to actually try digital? Any and all thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Leave them in the comments. I'm not sure what tattoos you have, if any, but if you were to get a new tat, what would it be and why? My first time posting in here, figured it was worth a shot. Good question. Thank you, Tay Simp. Just a friendly reminder to join our Discord server if you haven't already, since I see most of the questions on there. So I don't actually have any tattoos right now because I'm super lame like that. Mom, I know you're probably watching and I'm sorry in advance, but I kind of really like the idea of getting one though.
So I say do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Like I love forearm sleeves or something on the back of the wrist. I don't know, I just love how tattoos aren't considered super trashy or anything anymore by general society. They're just another part of personal expression. That's really cool, and I love hearing the stories behind well thought out tattoo art. Just for me, I haven't come across anything that I like enough to make permanent. Like anything that I'm 100% confident will have as much meaning to me now as it will in 30, 40 years time. Does that make sense or is that stupid? Should I just like carpe diem, it, live in the moment? But yeah, anyways, what about you guys? What do you have? What tats you got? Before we get into the next question, let's take less than 2 minutes to pay some bills. Huge thanks to Take 2 Minutes for sponsoring today's episode. Take 2 Minutes is an amazing nonprofit dedicated to helping people dealing with stress or anxiety. They offer completely free services where you receive daily positive text messages, as well as get access to other expert recommended activities and exercises backed by research designed to improve your happiness. Especially this year with everything going on, staying positive is something a lot of people are struggling with, myself included. So what Take 2 Minutes is doing, helping people deal with all that stress, is incredibly important. They've also just launched a very impressive merch line, which includes this hoodie. Because they're a non-profit, they don't make any money off the services. Merch is a great way to support them. Plus the designs are just really cool. Love the message on this one. Be kind. I think we could all use a little more kindness in our lives. And right now, just for you guys, they're offering a 15% discount on all merch by using the code Agufish at checkout. But yeah, again, that's just a way to support them. The main services are completely free. If you're ready to take action and improve your happiness, head on over to take2minutes.org. Use the link in the description. Highly recommend you check them out. Mental health is very important, and it also really helps out the channel when you guys support the sponsors that support me. And with that, into the next question. Did you hear about the stolen Adam Jones Silverbursts? Man, there's been an absolute hypegasm over Silverburst Les Paul customs for the last 2 months. They've been straight up dominating my Facebook and Instagram timelines. And I mean, I guess I've been completely sleeping on Tool because I knew they were big. Obviously, they're very talented, but with an average of like an album a decade, I had no idea that they were still relevant. At least to the point where Adam Jones could release signature models that command price points of $6K for the unsigned and an outrageous $10K for the signed version. To be fair, they're pretty cool. Silverbursts are already dope, but especially the Gibsons because of the nitro they green when they age. So getting a factory relict Silverburst in otherwise mint condition with that desired olive color, that is awesome. Not to mention it's a 70s style reissue, which is my personal favorite. I mean, I'm sure it might not have the pancake body, but the volute, and there's something about the thin 70s neck shapes that are just perfect. Actually, you know what? I take that back. These models are the first product of Gibson's new Murphy lab, which focuses on reproducing historically accurate guitars. So it is possible that the Adam Jones has the pancake body, if that's how Jones's actual 79 was built. I mean, who knows? New Orleans era construction is kind of all over the place. Builders were just kind of doing what they wanted. And there are some special modifications like an optional headstock mirror, Schaller M6 tuners, special pickups, a reverse mounted custom bucker in the neck, and I didn't even know the custom bucker was a thing until this guitar. Seems to be like a PAF, but with an Alnico 3 magnet. So like hotter than an Alnico 2, smoother than an Alnico 5, kind of in between a Burst Bucker and a Burst Bucker Pro. I mean, I don't care whose signature's on it. If I have a guitar that's worth 10K, unless I'm making stupid amounts of money, I'm talking straight up brain dead, no thought processes even capable type money, that thing is staying in the case forever. But if you look at how much these old Silverbursts are going for, like the ones from the 70s and the 80s, the ones that have already started turning green, it's actually stupid how much they're going for on Reverb and eBay, depending on the condition. 8K, 10K easy. So I guess they're fairly priced? I don't know, man. I'm buying Eastman. Anyways, so what happened is that 13 of these Adam Jones signatures were stolen when a pallet was lifted from a Sweetwater truck. Okay, so my theory is that the people who stole the pallet didn't know exactly what they were stealing. Like, it was a Sweetwater truck, they knew it was guitars. And I mean, what is it about guitars that makes people want to steal them? Like, it can be a Squire or the $30 Wish Strat. Given the chance, somebody will try and steal it. My luthier was actually telling me a story about how he keeps a cheap Ibanez guitar exposed in the living room as like a decoy guitar. The burglar sees it and takes that rather than something that's actually worth anything. And it actually worked. Someone broke into his house, that's the guitar they stole, and they left everything else. So there you go, that's the pro tip for the day. Anyways, back to the Adam Jones story. Seeing as how much they were going for and how limited the production line was, I think only 79 of the signed versions were ever made, you might think it makes sense to steal those since they're so valuable. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. They're too recognizable, they're too high profile. If you steal some standards, I'm not encouraging it by any means, but it's more whatever. Meanwhile, 4 of the 13 they stole were the signed versions. They literally stole over 5% of the global population of the signed versions. Gibson themselves sent out notices with all the serial numbers, so they're gonna be a bitch to flip. Alright, main point, stealing guitars is a dick move. Don't be a dick, be kind, but I really like how Gibson is handling the situation. They're remaking the 13 stolen guitars for the customers that didn't get them. Duh, that should be a given. I mean, I'm sure they're able to write them off as a loss. Stuff gets stolen and shipping all the time. But they're also doing a special 13 run where there will be a special notation on the back of the headstock showing that they're one of the 13 replacements. So basically, if you ordered one of these stolen 13 from Sweetwater, you lucked out because now you've got an even further limited edition of an already limited edition run. Not that they'll be better guitars or make you a better player, but for the collectors, that's sick, and it adds to the lore of this line. And okay, I think I've talked a lot about these. Realistically, I don't care that much about this run of guitars or new custom shop runs in general. They're just so far out of my price range. Not gonna lie though, that Joe Perry single humbucker gold top with the 2-point trem and access neck heel is kinda fire though. Really hoping that becomes an Epiphone at some point. The talk through and what you were thinking on the demo song was as cool as the reviews usually are. Not now, you should make a habit of it, or offer it as a bonus on Patreon. You know, that's actually really interesting. That's something that I did for the SG Custom demo. Talk through writing a Sabbathy demo track, being that I'm not at all familiar with Black Sabbath's catalog. So I kind of just shared my thought process going through it, even though I've been told it just turned out like Children of the Grave, but whatever. But yeah, is that kind of talk through content something that you guys are actually interested in? I mean, look, I've always said I want this channel to be a resource for recommendations when it comes to guitar gear. So the reviews, getting hyped, and having discussions with you guys about all the latest releases, that will always be free for everyone. Like, I'm never gonna hide a review behind a paywall. Like, you have to pay to know whether this guitar is great or a piece of shit or somewhere in between. That's just dumb. And a huge part of what I like to do with each review is write a demo track with each piece of gear. To me, that's one of the biggest factors when it comes to evaluating a guitar. You can talk specs and value for money until the world ends, but whether it's inspiring or not to write kick-ass riffs is a huge aspect as to whether or not I think a guitar is a keeper. And for whatever reason, I get a lot of questions about how I come up with the riffs for the demo tracks. And to be honest, a lot of it is plugging straight into a tube amp, turning the gain way up and chugging away until something sticks. And I'm not sure that fits with the flow of most reviews. I kind of did the behind the scenes for the SG Custom video because I was going for a certain theme that I wasn't that comfortable with the demo track, and I talk to myself anyways when I do something like that. But if the behind the scenes writing process is something you want to see on Patreon, kind of like what While She Sleeps is doing with Sleep Society, I'm totally down. Patreon is a huge part of how I keep the channel going. Everyone currently on Patreon is an absolute legend, and I would love to grow that community. So let me know if that's something you're interested in, whether you're an existing Patreon member or someone who hasn't joined that community yet. I would absolutely love to know if that's something that would get you involved. Or maybe I should just straight up change the overall format of the reviews to be more chill, more of a first impressions, writing the demo track with the final result. It would take less time, we could cover more gear. But regardless, Patreon, if you want to help support the channel, it's about the price of a cup of coffee a month to help keep the channel going. Really appreciate it if you decide to join. If not, I just appreciate you guys being here and hanging out. Although I have been looking at the stats and about 60% of you aren't subscribed. Why? Do it. It's free and it really does help out as well. Yeah, let me know. Next question. What's a piece of gear you wouldn't be caught dead using? I mean, I don't know. I use a Hello Kitty guitar all the time. I have no shame. Oh, wait, I see what you've done there. Yeah, I would not use a Hard Luck King's guitar ever. Those knuckle duster inlays, that's how you know the guitar is edgy, bro. Probably nothing full tone either. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just not into douchebag culture. And now, of course, it's time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. The worst part of watching your vids is the ugly faces you pull. Grow up, space, for f***'s sake. Yes, I will definitely change my guitar faces because some random anonymous penis face on the internet told me to. That's definitely what's gonna happen. Oh, the worst part of what? No one's forcing you to watch it, you moron. Go watch something else that makes you happy. Anyways, back to positive vibes. My music recommendation of the week is Insects by Darko US. Good lord, it is the most unreasonably heavy pro-environmentalist song I've heard in time. It's actually stupid how heavy this song is, and I'm all about it. Like, I'm giving you fair warning. Even if you like heavy music, this still might be a bit much. Like, it makes me want to recycle the living out of everything and move the to solar power. That was really aggressive. And that will do it for this week's episode of AskGufish. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way YouTube might let you know when I upload a new video. Social media, merch, and Discord server links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I will see you for the next video.